I'm looking for a book of the treaties one. Do you have one?
Yes, let me look for it. Yes, hold on.
Ya, ya, corta, corta.
There you go.
Thank you. Ya, corta, hermano.
Ya.
Hi, do you need some help? Actually, I do. I don't know what's the Peace of Westphalia. Oh, well, Westphalia was a series of treaties that were signed between May and October of 1648. They were used to end the 30 Years' War.
Oh, thank you.
The treaty resulted from the big diplomatic congress, thereby initiating a new system of political order in Central Europe, later called Westphalia sovereignty, based upon the concept of sovereign state governed by a sovereign and established a purge of international affairs against the interference in another nation's domestic business. The treaty not only signaled the end of the perennial destructive wars that had ravaged Europe. It also repressed the triumph of sovereign over empire, of nation rule over the personal will of Habsburg. The treaty's regulation became integral to the constitutional law of the Holy Roman Empire, and stood as a precursor to the later large international treaty, and thereby the development in the international law in general. The treaty did not restore the peace throughout Europe; however, France and Spain remained at war for the next 11 years. But the Peace of Westphalia at least created a basis for national self-determination.
Thank you for helping. Now it's clear.
You're welcome. If you have another problem with history issues, you know how to find us.
And by the way, why do you need to know this? Because I have to do an essay for my history class. Thank you very much.
The power taken by Ferdinand III in contravention of the Holy Roman Empire's constitution was stripped and returned to the rulers of the imperial states. This rectification allowed the rulers of the imperial states to independently decide this religious worship. Protestants and Catholics were redefined as equal before the law, and Calvinism was given legal recognition. The Holy See was very displeased at the settlement, with Pope Innocent X in Silo Domus Dei reportedly calling it null, void, invalid, iniquitous, unjust, damnable, reprobable, inane, empty of meaning and effect for all time.
That's the Peace of Westphalia. Oh, it now makes sense.
Hey, what you are talking about?
The Peace of Westphalia. It's a very interesting topic. Let's discuss it.
There were also territorial adjustments. The independence of Switzerland from empire was formally recognized. These territories had enjoyed de facto independence for decades. The majority of peace terms can be attributed to the work of Cardinal Mazarin, the de facto leader of France at the time, the King Louis XIV being a child. Not surprisingly, France came out of the war in a far better position than any of the other participants. France won control of the bishoprics of Metz, Toul and Verdun near Lorraine, and the cities of Decapole in Alsace, but not Strasbourg, the bishopric of Strasbourg or Mulhouse. Sweden receiving an indemnity of $5 million, used primarily to pay her troops. Sweden further received western Pomerania, henceforth Swedish Pomerania, Wismar and the Prince Bishopric of Bremen and Verden as hereditary fiefs, thus gaining a seat and vote in the imperial diet of the imperial as well as in the respective circle diets Kreistag of the Upper Saxon, Lower Saxon and the Westphalian circles. However, the wording of the treaties was ambiguous.